Hi everyone, I'm Sam from Founder Stories Mornington Peninsula. We're here today at the Waves Farm, formerly known as the Revillaging Project, and I have the most amazing lineup of people, local founders, leaders, industry experts, all here. My Founder Stories series is all about highlighting the people behind the brands of the Mornington Peninsula, and I cannot wait to show you this series. But I do also mention, if anyone has a story that they'd like to share, a founder that's out there in the community that has a real reason for being, a purpose, please reach out. I'd love to have you on the series. But today, let's go and interview some Series 2 founders. Hello and welcome back to Waves Farm. We're on episode 3 and we are talking with the fabulous Melissa Morby. Now, before we get into it too much, I just want to bring everyone in a little closer. Not only are we talking around, I suppose, something as interesting as coffee, because coffee is an extraordinary thing to talk about, particularly on the Mornington Peninsula, but I come from a marketing background, and something that I find most fascinating is consumer behaviour. So you're a consumer behaviour. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're a consumer behaviourist. But before we get into that, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Dalesford.
Yes.
So I came to the peninsula about 10 years ago. So
Considered a local, yes.
Well, I hope so.
Yes.
I've done my time now. So yeah, country was where I was brought up. And then I moved to Geelong after that, and then full circle around here.
And so now you live just around the corner from me, actually, just up in Dramana. But you're a consumer. So you lived in Melbourne, grew up sort of there, came down, set up shop down here 10 years ago for various reasons, and you have two kids.
Yes,
Yep. Started roasting coffee, but in amongst all of that, you study consumer behaviour.
Yeah. So I do marketing, but after school I went to uni, I studied psychology.
Yes.
And
so psychologists.
Well,
yes.
I think I went down a different path of getting into business after that. And then marketing sort of was naturally flowed into that because it's all about understanding people. So then I went back and did masters in marketing and somehow combined psychology and marketing into this consumer behaviour consulting
Fantastic.
role. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you could be in a better position to own a brand than being a consumer behaviourist, where you can understand why people do things. I've always been fascinated with behaviour, being in marketing myself. But so we'll move forward then. So you're a consumer behaviourist and you actually lecture. You're a lecturer at RMIT,
Yes,
which is in Melbourne.
Correct, yep.
So straight from this interview today, she's going to be heading up to Melbourne. So yes, your students will have to wait a little bit longer. But probably why we met and when we sat down together and had a coffee was to talk about this amazing brand that is roasted in Melbourne, but mostly it is distributed right across the peninsula as well, is Healer Roasters. So we'll talk about where you got the name from in a minute, but why coffee? Why did a consumer behaviourist, which is phenomenal and right up my alley, decide to roast coffee?
Well, I think coffee is one of those things that's part of everyday life. It's always there, no matter where you are, what country you're in. There's some sort of ritual around coffee, and it brings people together. Like it's how we first met over coffee. So I think it felt like a natural thing for me. Like I often be out having coffee and note, this is really rough. Like this isn't a good coffee. And I think of just that thinking, well, maybe I could do this. And from a point of view where with my business, I go in and I contribute to marketing strategies and then I leave again. So it's like I'm not fully in anything. I just kind of come in and come and go. So I thought it would be nice to have something that I can fully stand behind from start to finish. And it's just there.
And I've noted also in my notes here that you sold out of your first roast, your entire first one, and now you're on to roast 2.
Yes.
Well, tell me, I love dogs. I'm a big dog person myself. Tell me why Healer?
Well, I think it's just like growing up with dogs and in the country, they're working animals. They work really hard and they're so loyal to their families. So it wasn't about, that's Rex on the label there. It was more about the working dog spirit that is behind it, like getting stuck into something, showing up every day, giving it your all and being loyal.
Yeah, hardworking is the operative word because you don't stop, do you? You're always on the go.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noted that, trying to catch her for the pre-interview meetings. So hardworking, loyal is definitely something I would associate with this brand. I get up now and I've been very lucky to try it this last week, get up and have my mocha pot every morning, so I can attest to the quality. But I'm assuming that you can't just walk in off the street and become a coffee roaster. So
No.
how did you get the experience? How did it start? Like, did you just go along to a roasting house and say, can I come in?
Well, there's places where you can learn to roast, like it's a course that you can do. So I did the course, and then from there I was visiting different roasteries and seeing what they do and just talking to people. Like, everyone in the industry has been so friendly and open with sharing how they roast and what they do. So it's really about, there was a lot of intel gathering and research and understanding. But I guess in terms of how to roast, it came down to doing a course and actually learning the science behind it. And then
how long was the course, though?
It was over 2 days, so it was an intensive 2-day course. And then going back in and doing practice roasts from there. So different beans and understanding how they behave differently and what stages you can put them through for how long and how that changes the flavour of it. So while, sitting in a cafe, it's easy to say, this coffee's not so good, maybe I could do better. It was much harder than what I thought it was going to be, much more science.
I don't think there's any doubt. We take for granted, I think, and also the most expensive materials on earth. Some of it's coffee's in the top 3. So it's extremely, well sought after, but also valued. And so what makes a good roast then? So I suppose there is that scientific side of things, which we probably won't get into necessarily today. But how much of it is about the machine and how much of it is about the coffee itself? I mean, I'm assuming when you were doing your testing, you tasted a lot of different coffee, but in different ways as well. So mocha pot to espresso machine to however else. So can you talk a little bit more around what I suppose you love in Gila?
Well, I love the Gila roasters is all about keeping that magic that's in the coffee bean naturally. So rather than trying to make it into something that I think it should be, just like, it's like listening to the bean. Well, where is it from? What is the process in which it's been washed, or like what sort of fermentation has it gone through, if there's been any, and then how can you bring out the natural flavors that are already there in the bean and just highlight those rather than just roasting it dark so it tastes. And
so there's a different grind, isn't there, for all the different ways you use coffee?
Different grinds for different, like if you're using a mocha pot, it should be ground different to if you're using an espresso machine or plunger.
It's really interesting because I've become a bit of a coffee connoisseur. I think most of us consider ourselves to be coffee, and it might be fueling founder stories at the moment. But I appreciate that what goes into it. I'm not just a passive consumer. I do enjoy it because I know, and having got to know you, Melissa, also the effort that you put in each and every roast. Like, it's not just something that you bring in. So I commend you for that. And also, you're a young woman who's out here doing it on her own. You don't have a marketing team. You're out there in between lecturing at RMIT, delivering coffee, talking to people about coffee. I really think that's quite amazing. So you're on the grind number 2 or roast number 2?
Like official roast number 2 that I've released to people.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Where do you get the beans from?
So the beans that I have currently, so there's the beans that I've got from PNG, which are the ones that I gave you. So I get them through an importer.
Right.
And then I've got Brazil and Ethiopia as well.
Oh, my gosh. So you literally do look after the bean from the producer all the way through to when it ends up in a white bag in front of us.
Exactly. So this is part of why I wanted to get into something like this. So it's not just putting beans in bags and making the label look nice. It's about where am I actually getting it from, like what farm is it coming from, talking to importers, trying different options and like understanding this full process.
Yeah, and also I suppose you can also then go visit these different countries because it's research.
Yeah, of course.
So that makes sense. No, well, absolutely. And I think that's something that we do take for granted, sitting in a coffee shop having a coffee is it's just a coffee,
Yes.
you know, and you might notice the brand from time to time, but it is really interesting, and something that caught me with you, Melissa, is that you do get involved from that bean level. I would like that from that country. I know that they're good quality, and then you assure the quality all the way through to where you grind, and then distribute, because I've seen you out and about delivering the coffee, which is just an extraordinary thing. Another thing then about Gila Roasters, what's next? So you're on to Roast 2. What's going to be exciting and next for Gila Roasters?
Yeah, so I think I want to keep it. I want to be able to keep the magic in this. So I don't have any aspirations for selling it at supermarket level or flooding the market and getting in every cafe. It would be nice to get in a cafe, and I certainly do want to grow the business. But ultimately, I just want to keep showing up, improving it, make it better, keep learning as well. There's always so much to learn, which is great. So yeah, just keep going.
And getting the word out there, I suppose, as well, because I think the hardworking and loyal, which you clearly are, the hardworking component it speaks volumes in this coffee. And I was taken with your story when we first met, so it seemed like a natural progression to get you along and to hear. And as I was talking to Josh and Narelle Melnick from Waves Farm, which is where we are today, that there is this real sense of toil that goes behind every product that we just often walk past in the shops and don't consider. And Founder Stories is hoping to return a little bit of that storytelling to the founder and telling us about why it's so compelling that they do what they do, but also what's to be enjoyed and celebrated. So just moving on also to the flavour profile is something that I think we all enjoy most about coffee, is the flavour profile. Can you talk from your experience in roasting, can you talk a little bit more around the flavour profiles of coffee?
So I think coffee can be quite surprising in that it does have different flavours, and like wine, or if you think about steak, like you have that meat flavour, and then if you go and cook it well done, what you taste is that char. You don't actually taste the meat. So I think a lot of people think coffee should taste really roasty or toasty, and it should have that. And that can be associated with like, that's a strong coffee. But it doesn't increase the caffeine level. It just is a certain attribute that comes out of that dark roast. Whereas if you listen to the bean and then roast it appropriately for what the coffee bean actually is, you can taste things like stone fruit or caramel and chocolate and all these exciting flavours that perhaps we're not that used to, because we just think of that dark roast really like charred.
When I tasted my roast, I think it was the blended mixed Ethiopian. Is it mixed Ethiopian?
Yep, with Brazil.
And it was, I could taste that caramel in there. So I'm now learning even more, having met you, around what to expect in each coffee. And not all of them should taste the same. It's funny, we do build up this familiarity with our cup of coffee. But the most exciting thing around Gila Roasters as well is that it does vary depending on the roast or where it came from.
Yes.
And you draw off, you said before, Ethiopian beans. Where else?
Brazil and PNG. And then I've got some Java as well that I'm very excited about roasting very soon.
Okay, well, I'm going to try that one for sure. Well, thank you for joining us, Melissa. That was really great insight into how we enjoy coffee. And I love the brand Gila Roasters. I can only see good things. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you also to our viewers. I just want to also, everybody who's been following along on the Founder's Journey, I want to thank you. We can't do this without you guys. And stay tuned, because in our next episode, we're talking to Pink Tradie Lady, another local icon that I can't wait to introduce to you.